So, I have been struggling for the past week or so on what my next step should be regarding my path. And normally that wouldn't be that crazy of a thing. I feel like that happens to me quite frequently. But throughout the month of July, I got all of these signs and symbols, and honestly, just intuitive nudges and downloads that August was going to be a huge month of transition for me. And in particular, a big month of transition in terms of my mediumship development, going down my medium path, and making sure that I really commit to everything on my mediumship path. And then all of a sudden, it kind of felt like there was a stop sign being put up in front of me, and I was just really confused as to why, after months and honestly a year of the universe like guiding me towards this path, I was being given this stop sign. And stop sign came in the form of a couple small things that I think just sort of planted seeds of doubt in my mind. And like I tend to do in regards to my mediumship path, I just let those seeds of doubt grow, and they tried to talk me out of continuing on down this path. So the first thing was that I was in this mediumship class that I've been taking, and the instructor was showing us how to give a psychic reading, and she just randomly asked if she could read me psychically as an example. And if you don't know what the difference between a psychic reading and a mediumship reading is, a psychic reading is just reading another person's energy. It's like your soul reading the energy of the soul that's sitting in front of you or remotely in front of you. And a mediumship reading, you are connecting to past loved ones. So your information is coming from the spirit world rather than your soul just reading the soul of another person. So this was a psychic reading in which she was reading my energy. And what she brought forward was a new beginning for me in terms of the things that I create, and like selling specific items that I create that are kind of like jewelry, but maybe a little bit different. And that there was like a lot of nature and flowers that kind of inspired this new beginning. She also said that that my way of speaking and writing was connected to it as well, which I definitely resonated with. Obviously, I have a podcast. I, come on YouTube, I'm on TikTok, all those kind of things. But what she didn't mention was any sort of new beginning or bright future in regards to my mediumship path. And that just seemed really odd to me. And I like 100% wholeheartedly trust this person and their reading. I wasn't doubting their skills in any way. If anything, it was making me doubt my own intuition and my own path as to, okay, well, if she's not seeing this mediumship path as something that's being highlighted, and there's something else that's being highlighted as a new adventure, why would I keep going down this mediumship path? Why wouldn't I explore what it is that she's talking about? So I really sat with it. And if you don't know, I have a crystal line. I sell crystal jewelry. I've got like my black obsidian necklace on right now. It's very much, I love connecting to Mother Earth and nature. So all of that resonated, and it just felt like I should put my effort into that right now. But energetically, I'm not being pulled to that. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't still exist, that I don't still find fulfillment from it, that I don't get excited like every time someone buys a crystal, because I do. But in terms of like growing and expanding that business, it's just not where my energy is focused right now. I actually feel okay with the status that it's in right now, knowing that it's kind of like this smooth running machine, and I can focus my energy on other things and kind of come back to it as something that will grow over time. But when she said that, it really started making me hone in on that business more, and seeing what else I could do, what other, products I could incorporate. Can I make something that I'm not currently making? And again, it just did not feel like an energetic match. And I was aware of that as it was happening. But I was like, okay, if that's not it, then it must be something different. And I just kind of set that off to the side. And the other thing that happened that sort of pushed me off this mediumship path, or at least thinking that that's the path that I should go down, was I gave a mediumship reading to another person in the class. We exchanged practice readings. So she did a reading for me, I did one for her, where I brought through some of her past loved ones, and it went really well. I was able to bring in 3 different individuals and give her, confirmation that I was actually bringing forward members of her family. But after the reading was done, I didn't get this sense of overwhelming fulfillment. And leading up to the reading, I was super anxious about it because I haven't given a one-on-one reading in so long, and I'm not currently offering them, in case you're wondering. But I have been feeling like that's something that I need to work on, is my one-on-one readings, but I just didn't feel any sort of wow, that was so cool, that was so special, I love doing that, I want to do that again. So the combination of those two things really sort of sent me reeling into, okay, well, if this isn't the path, what's the next path? And I took the weekend to think about it. Yesterday, I feel like was kind of a buffer day. I actually did a really deep dive into my astrological chart, which I've read about the different aspects of my astrological chart before, but I don't think I've ever put them together in a holistic way that gives me a picture of everything about me. And I'm not done, but basically what I did, in case you're interested in doing this for yourself, is there's a note-taking method that's called Zettelkasten or something, and it translates to slipbox. It's like this German method that my mom told me about. I do not follow it to a T by any means, but the gist of it is you read something, you summarize it in notes, you kind of keep it in these different folders, and then you can connect links between different notes that you make. And so in terms of my astrological wheel, I created all these different folders and notes, and it'd be my second house is in Scorpio and the planet is Jupiter. And so within that note, I would write down, okay, what does the second house represent? What does Jupiter represent? What does Jupiter in the second house represent? What does Jupiter in Scorpio represent? And going through all the houses that way, and then making connections and ties where I saw them. And that definitely helped to give me a better picture of my path forward. Very much it's focused on self-expression, using my words creatively, and just sort of sharing my story, which makes sense with a lot of what I'm doing. It doesn't lend itself to the selling of products necessarily, but it also doesn't really lend itself to mediumship readings. So again, I was like, okay, well, maybe I should just focus on content creation. I'm planning on making more YouTube videos. Maybe I should focus on that, and my podcast a little bit more, because this is the place where I feel I can just freely speak my mind and whatever I'm going through. But I did this thing last night because I was feeling just really chaotic and cluttered again, scattered. My energy felt like it was being scattered in 12 different directions. And so I did 2 lists of what am I being energetically drawn to right now, and what is energetically draining me. And then I was able to kind of pull out, okay, with the things that I'm being energetically drawn to, what are the main themes of that? And one is my mediumship path, and the other one is content creation, and specifically self-expression within that content creation. And I had this moment because I have definitely thought about, well, maybe I'm just meant to be a medium who gives collective readings on social media. If you don't follow me on TikTok, you may not have seen that or know what I'm talking about. But basically, one of the ways that my mediumship gift works is I will have a collection of different souls on the other side who all share similar characteristics to one another. Like they might be a grandfather figure who has like a really good sense of humor and has like all these memories with this specific loved one of theirs that's still on earth and gives them these specific signs. So they group themselves together like that. And then when there's enough of them who have a message for their loved ones here on earth, they come into my energetic field. I can feel them. I deliver the message on TikTok, and then I just trust that the universe brings it to exactly who's meant to hear it. And it's kind of shocking, and it still surprises me how accurate it can be for many different people, and how I am able to bring forward people's past loved ones, even though it's in a collective reading like that. And that does feel supernatural and fulfilling to me. So I was thinking, okay, maybe I just really need to focus on that. But I had this other thought where I felt like, well, what if I had a one-on-one mediumship reading with someone where I was giving the reading and I was super confident in everything that I was bringing through, and I had no doubts that the past loved ones I was channeling were there with me, and I was able to give super concrete evidence and really just like feeling confident and good about the work that I was doing. And I was able to provide some healing along the way as well. How would I feel after that type of reading? And I believe the answer is probably really good. I don't know because I haven't experienced it, but I would imagine that if I am feeling confident in my gift, if I am able to bring through these individuals beyond a shadow of a doubt, and I'm able to provide healing to the people that I do readings for, that would be a really fulfilling feeling, and that it wouldn't leave me feeling anxious and self-conscious and unsure. But the only way to get to that feeling of feeling confident and sure in my abilities is to keep practicing these one-on-one readings. And so that was kind of like a light bulb moment of maybe it doesn't feel amazing right now, but that's because I haven't necessarily put in the work in order for it to be amazing. And so my priorities, I've kind of put them into two buckets right now. One is my mediumship path. And so things I'm doing there are scheduling more practice readings with people who are also in my mediumship class, because that feels like a really safe environment for people who are also practicing. Continuing to go to my mediumship class. There's like a Q&A that I'm going to today, and doing meditations to grow my mediumship abilities, and then continuing to post collective readings on TikTok. And then in terms of my content creation, I definitely feel like sometimes I'm so structured in the way that I deliver messages or do my podcast episodes or my YouTube videos that it takes away from just some of the raw, vulnerable things that I go through and experience. So I'm really working on being a bit more unfiltered, just sharing the exact experience that I'm going through, having faith that people care about the stuff that I'm going through, because I think that's half the battle for me. I'm like, who the heck would care that this is something that I'm experiencing? But I have to remember that there's other people who may not be experiencing the exact same thing as me, but can see similarities to them in my path. Like maybe you're not a medium, maybe you're not even going down a spiritual path, but you're exploring some type of new career path or profession, and you're having these doubts of one step forward, two steps back. And maybe seeing how I navigate through my own doubts can give you confidence and help of how to navigate through your doubts. So just like being trusting that this content is made for someone, someone is going to care, and it's going to be interesting and helpful to the right people. And just making sure that I show up more frequently with higher quality. You know, I got a new webcam. I honestly probably have to get a new computer because my old one is dying and it makes editing podcasts and videos terrible. So just making sure that I'm investing my time and resources and energy into the things that I care about, which is sharing my story authentically and not focusing or worrying about if it's going to resonate with people or not, and just trusting that it's going to find the people that it's meant to. So that's kind of the journey that I went on in the past week. And honestly, I could look at it somewhat negatively of, okay, I feel like I'm basically back in the same place that I started, and the only thing that happened was it took like a week of doubt, and instead of being able to actually put that energy towards the stuff that I want to, I just sat in this like doubt and confusion. But the other way to look at it is that I really worked on strengthening my intuition. I have more confidence as I'm going down this path. I technically have made some adjustments in terms of where my energy is focused. I wrote down all the things that were distracting me, from that section that I wrote of like what is draining my energy right now. Those are things that I don't have to totally get rid of or eliminate, but they are distractions at least right now. And so, like the psychic reading that I got, I actually don't doubt that everything that she said was right and correct and spot on. I just have to use my own intuition to know that that is not where my energy needs to be focused right now. And either my energy will be pulled that way in the future, or honestly, something will just unfold in front of my lap and I don't even have to worry about what that's going to be. But it took me using my own intuition to recognize that, instead of, trusting a really well-respected psychic medium. And again, to be clear, I do trust the reading that she gave me, but I had to use my own intuition to realize I don't have to focus on that right now. And I know the direction that I'm meant to be going in, and the rest is quite honestly none of my business. Like if other things are meant to happen in the future, they're meant to happen, but I don't have to be worrying about them right now.